Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Your Model Railway. In today's episode, we're going to work on those doors. We'll come up with a solution. I've been speaking to someone about them and think we're going to have a way forward. We're going to have the door sort of split into two, with the runner up in the top section, and then the doorway will stick out above and sort of sit and glue onto the top of the roof, so it sort of interlocks the roof into the correct position. Okay, so let's turn the roof off to start with, and then let's look at drawing on cab number 1. So we're doing on the long end of the cab to start with. We'll turn off the chassis and cab number 2, so they're not going to be in our way when we're looking at these. Okay, so looking at the profile of the door in the plan, we've got it as 28 inches wide and 80 inches tall. Okay, so we can add that into the website we were using earlier to try and give us the dimensions in millimeters. Okay, so let's get the initial door drawn on the back of the cab. So we'll use a rectangle. I'm going to snap it to the bottom. Try not to get a midpoint or anything like that. I'm going to just drag it out like that. Okay, so let's look at the width first of all. So we've got 28 inches wide on the door. So if we come into the internet, let's stick 28 inches in there. We've got 711. So we can define the width of our door as 711 divided by 148, or whatever scale you're using. And it was 26 inches from the side, on this side of the cab. So we go into the end net, 26 inches, 660.4. Define that to that. 660.4 divided by 148. Okay, so that's going to put that in the correct position. And the next one is the height, which we're looking at is 80 inches. So it's 82 inches is to the top of the range strip. So it's 2-inch range strip. So we're going to go 80 inches to the top of the doorway. So 80 inches is 2032. I can define that height as 2032 divided by 148. Okay, now if we put the roof back on, let's have a look what that does. Roof body. Okay, so that we can see is going to cause an issue because we're not going to, it's actually going up into the roof. This is obviously due to the limitations of printing, because we're having to have a millimeter thickness on the roof. It hasn't gone all the way through. It's, yeah, just the limitation of the printing process. So we're going to have to, fudge this a little bit. So if we delete that dimension there, and we're going to bring this down. Let's get the roof turned on, and we're going to bring that down. We need to have room to fit the one at the top there. So it is going to overlap, but it's not going to be by a lot there. I think I'm going to go with what we've got there. Turn that roof back off, and we'll define that height there, whatever that is. We'll go 12.4 millimeters. Okay, so now we're going to extrude these forwards. Let's have a look at the picture. How thick does the door look? Not a lot, it's certainly probably 2, maybe 3 inches at the most. So let's just bring that forwards by, oh no, I don't want the diagonal there. I don't want the taper angle at all. Let's put a taper angle in there, so I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to bring the door forwards 0.5 millimeter. Really, that's what, 3 inches in engage approximately. So yeah, we'll bring that forwards like that. Now I'm just wondering, do I create that as a separate body so I can copy it over? I think I might, you know. Let's edit that feature. Let's do this as a separate body, and then we can copy this over once we're done with it. Okay, so let's have a look at the window and the plans. So we've got, it's 26 26.5 inches high by 19.5 inches wide. So if we come back into Fusion, we're going to create a sketch on the back of that door, and I'm going to use a center point rectangle. I'm going to come down that midpoint. I'm just going to draw a rectangle in there. Okay, so we're going to make sure this locks in line with the construction line going down the middle. Draw a line to make sure it's construction. Come down that midpoint, and we're going to snap that center point onto that line. Okay, into where 26.5 inches is the height of the door, so that's 673 millimeters high. So define. Let's go back into that sketch. Let's define that height as 673 divided by 148. That catch up. That's the height sorted. And if we look at the plan, we've got a width of 19.5. That's 495. So define that. 495 divided by 148. Okay, and let's have a look. Is there any more height? So it's 40 inches high. So 1016. So we can define that to that as 1016. Okay, so that's our door window there. Okay, and we can extrude this, and we want this to come all the way through the cab, like that. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is actually, let's have a look. Has it got round a window? Yes, it has. So we have to go back in to that sketch there. Edit the sketch, we'll round those windows out. Should check that first. So let's do that one. We're at 0.5 on these. We'll do them all independently because this diagonal line will get in the way otherwise. The error that's coming up at the bottom is because it's defined by the corner position, which obviously we're now removing as we do this. All the rest of the dimensions will still work fine. Okay, and then if we jump back forwards in the timeline, we've got the curved windows on now. Okay, so it's got beading around the outside, so we might as well draw that on as well. So if we create a sketch on that profile, it's going to offset that profile by minus 0.2, and I'm going to extrude that profile forwards by 0.2. Okay, what else have we got on the door? Door handle. Draw that. We can't draw it as detailed as this because this just wouldn't print. That's obviously only thickness of what, a centimetre, which is, you know, minute. So I just generally draw a rectangle for my door handles. They seem to work absolutely fine. So it's obviously on the edge of the door, level with the base. So it's going to fit in this position here. Normally do them 0.25, 0.3, 0.5 on the width. Define it. 0.1 from the edge, and that to that point there. We're looking at the height there, so we're going to 0.1. And then I'll extrude this forwards 0.3 millimeters. Okay, so that's our door handle shape. Might actually want to come forward a bit more than that. Edit that. Let's go 0.5 millimeters. Yeah, happy with that. Okay, so now we can copy this body because there's nothing else really on the door. If you look at it, it's just a door. That padlock is on some, isn't on others. I'm not going to bother drawing that one, I don't think. Could draw this edge here, actually. What I'm going to do is how am I going to do this? Okay, so what I'm going to do is just create a sketch on, I'm going to create a separate body as well. Create a rectangle, going to be slightly to the side of where this one is. I'm going to have it as 0.3 wide. Let's define the width. And project that door shape. Define the distance between those 2 points. Go 0.2 just so you can see that the actual gap is there. And I'm going to vertically constrain, sorry, horizontally constrain that there to there, so that's going to be the same height. Select these 2 profiles, and then I'm going to extrude it to the same profile height as the door. Tell that to be a new body as well. Okay, so now I'm going to copy these 2 bodies and I'm going to put them into number 2 cab. Let's put it there for the moment. Let's go back to number 2 cab. Let's work on that. Okay, so first thing I'm going to look at, we come back to this one. It's the distance from there to there. So if we're looking from that point to that point, 6.947. So I'll just wind this history back a little bit, draw a sketch on there. I'm going to add a point. I'm going to define that position as 6.947, which is what we said on the other side. Finish that sketch. Jump back forwards in the history. And this copy here, if we edit this, we can do point to point. Wait a minute. What's just happened? Let's start by moving it. Let's rotate it. Okay, let's delete that. Delete that. Let's find them up here to try again. So copy. Paste them into there. Rotate it. Point to point. There we go. That's better. We can snap that corner to the point we've just drawn. That then aligns them all where we want them. Okay, yeah, that's sorted. Okay, while we're in cab number 2, let's combine those. So we're on body 1 and then those 2 bodies. What we will have to do is drill out that doorway now, which is fine. We'll come back to that in a second. Let's do this one and combine a body with those ones there. Okay, right, let's get this doorway sorted. So cab 2, body 1. I create a sketch on that inner surface. Turn cab 1 off. And we're going to project that inside profile and then extrude through to the inside to cut. Now we've got that doorway all the way through on there. Okay, so now we've got the door copied over. I'm going to work on just adding this runner across the top here. So let's just minimise some of these so they're not so messy. We're going to be looking at doing on the roof panel now. Let's turn the body on so you can see it. And if we look at the picture here, it goes from opposite the edge of the door to where the corner of the diagonal downpipe piece is. So if we create a sketch on that top surface there, and we'll slice through it so we can see what we're looking at. And that's not going to work because I can't see the end of the door. Let's finish that sketch, go back in. Let's just rotate it slightly, that's what I'm after. And we're going to draw rectangles, going to go from that point. I need it to snap to that corner, but that's not going to be there. So actually what we're going to do is project that point and then we can draw it from that corner to there. That's it. We can extrude to there, turn off the cab so it doesn't join there, and click on OK. Good. Let's turn the cab back on. What we'll do is just spin it around and do the same on the other side. Okay, so still obviously we're in the roof panel. We're going to create a sketch on that surface. We're going to project that corner point, and then we're going to draw a rectangle from there to there. Turn off the cab. Let's grab it first, extrude to that point, turn off the cab so it doesn't join the cab. Good. Okay, so we've now got the doorways back, drawn back onto the back of the both bulkheads there. Excellent. I think I'm going to end this video at that point, and now, yeah, we're going to move on from there.